So from losing £9,000 of his savings to a trading scam, to joining my program and within 6 months hitting 600k in trading capital and consistently hitting 10k a month, to now 1 year later managing $1.4 million in trading capital and making more money than he ever thought was ever imaginable or possible. This is Calvin, one of our most successful students. Really, I mean, I say this every time, but there is a lot to be learned from this one. Give it a watch. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, I guess really, I mean, as I do with every interview, want to just sort of start from the beginning. And I mean, from our conversation previously, I remember before joining us, you actually got scammed, right? So I think probably the best thing is to do. So let's start from all the way sort of back prior to that and sort of talk us through your journey as a trader, really.
So basically, long story short, I started like looking into trading when I was about 15, 16. Because I see you driving around in your Lambo, and because obviously I'm from Southampton as well, I see you driving around and I'm like, damn, like I want that. Like I've never seen one in person, obviously on YouTube videos and stuff. So I was like, that's crazy. So I looked into you and I was like, because I wasn't really what's the way to put it? Like I wasn't really safe with money. Like I'd get paid from work and I'd just spend it all. It'd be gone. Like I'd play Xbox or something and all my money would be gone on Xbox. And so I never actually bought anything like you were advertising before. But I was like slowly like researching it on YouTube and stuff, and then I started finding like some signal groups, and I went down the signal group line, which is bollocks. I don't recommend it at all. Um, and then I started getting a bit savvy of my money and started stop spending it and stop like gaming. Like I stopped gaming quite a bit. Started saving my money from working. I probably saved about 10 grand or so. And then I thought, oh,
Cool.
the signal group looks well good. Started copying the signal group, bro. I blew my money within 2 months and I was
Wow.
depressed.
How much money
So
did
I
you invest
thought
into that?
9 grand I put into a live
Oh,
account.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because the first trade he made me place the, I think it was a one lot or something back then. It was like a one lot to activate the commission thing. And
Activate
bro,
the commission.
there was NFP in 10 minutes and boom, my account was literally nearly gone. I lost like four
Wow.
grand. It was
Jesus.
crazy. And then I thought, okay, trading's a scam, as everyone does. Just left it for a few months. And then I kept seeing you still driving around in your car. I'm like, how is he driving around in this car if it's a scam? So I thought, all right, let me look on YouTube, try find some like information because clearly that route wasn't working. Like I was hopping, like that was all over like a 2 year course, basically 2, 3 years.
Mhm.
I was hopping signal group to signal group, and I kept putting like 200 quid in, 300 quid in here. And mate, I probably have had 100 grand live account if I didn't put all that money in. Like I spent so much money on it. Um, but yeah, so I started looking into like courses and stuff, and there was a guy on YouTube. I won't name names, but he had a course. It was £300, so I bought it, and yeah, it was a load of bollocks. I just wasted my time.
Yeah.
Um, so then I started looking into the ICT route because everyone was saying quit your job in 90 days, ICT, all this. So I was like, all right, cool. This will get me to quit my job then. And don't get me wrong, I did learn quite a lot from it. Um, so yeah, I started going down that route, learned quite a bit, but I just couldn't make it work. If you get what I mean, like I was back
Yeah.
testing, just nothing would work. Like, okay, yeah, I could see the setups on the chart and I could spot like everything I needed to spot that he was telling me to. But
Mhm.
over the course of like a 2 year back test on FX replay, bro, I had like a 25% win rate and I was negative. So I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then I looked. I saw you. I think I saw you walking in town with your dog one time, and I was like, I didn't say nothing. Obviously, I didn't come up to you, but I was like, okay, I think it's time. And then that's when I messaged you, and I was like, bro, I've been saying for the past few years to myself I was going to buy your course, didn't do it. Let me do it. And then you're like, are you
Mhm.
serious this time? If you wanna make it work, then you need to be disciplined or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
Get me in. And then yeah, then we done
Yeah.
that.
I remember the conversation actually. I remember you coming through and
Yeah.
you said I want to do it, and I think we had maybe a brief discussion before that at some point, and obviously things fizzled out and we
Yeah.
didn't end up going anywhere. But then yeah, I was like, okay, I mean, if you want to do this, you have to be serious. I mean, I admit I'm definitely not the cheapest, right? And that's because
Yeah.
I don't want people joining and then just giving up, right? It has to be. I think in education, trading especially, right? You have to make an investment that is actually meaningful. I think if you put £300 into something, you're probably not going to take it that serious. But if you are spending thousands, then it's like, okay, I really need to give it a go. And I think it's that mindset that does actually sort of shape people coming into this with the sort of determination to make it work. Um, so yeah, we then obviously we took the leap. 6 months went by, and you were able to achieve some pretty good results from the training. Before we go on to that, I mean, what do you feel like? What we were doing was sort of attractive to you? I mean, why did you then decide to come back around and sort of decide to take action with us? Because obviously, I mean, yeah, cool, you saw the cars and stuff like that, you saw as a real person, but what was your reason for wanting to come and actually work with us?
So, long story short, obviously, like I said, because you're from Southampton, I've never seen anyone in Southampton like with nice things or anything like that. So, someone was telling me, if you've got it, why can't I get to that level as well?
Mhm.
Um, so then me seeing you in the Lambo, I was like, okay, cool. And then obviously, like I said, I started looking like following you ish back in 2016, 2018 times. So like real long time ago. And
Yeah,
I've seen you obviously grow through the years. And obviously, um, if you've done it and you've stayed consistent with it through them years, then obviously I know if I come to you, well, this is what went through my head. If I come to you, then surely I can then do the same thing over the course of the next 4 or 5 years.
yeah, yeah. So it's really just about, I mean, you obviously saw or knew about me for a long
Consistency.
time, and then it was sort of okay, like I've seen somebody go from this to this. Again, there's clearly showing consistency there. Why can't I go and do this as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, cool. So again, like I was saying, it was a very, very quick sort of period of time before you went from somebody that had just been scammed to, I mean, 6 months down the line, you had 600K in capital, you were consistently doing 10K a month. And again, you made a massive transition from somebody that wasn't profitable to somebody that was making really good money from their trading. What do you think, what do you think shifted during that 6 month period that allowed you to make that much progress in such a relatively short amount of time?
I'm gonna be honest, mindset, definitely. I was so greedy, bro. Because before I started trading, like completely, I used to gamble. Like I used to play some blackjack online, and bro, I blew so much money. And then when I started making money trading, I started thinking, oh, let's just go play some blackjack with some friends for fun on Discord. And then it kept spiraling down. I was like, okay, done, stop it. And then like I was making money through trading, but as soon as I started like shifting my mindset away from gambling, and I don't need to trade every day, and I don't need to trade 50 setups in a month, my mindset shifted, and that's when money started just coming in regularly. And now I've got like 1.4 million funding, and my live
Amazing.
account. I've got a live account with IC Markets for £120,000, and
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, for you, it was really just about just dialing in, having a more focused approach, not worrying about trading every single day. It was very much about, okay, this is what I'm looking to trade. When I see it, I'm going to trade. If I don't see it, I'm not going to be trading. I'm going to walk away and I'm going to come back the next day. It was that sort of mindset shift.
yeah, because I used to sit on chart because when I paid for your course, I actually quit my job because I wanted to. Because I said to you, "Do you think I should quit my job?" And you said, "I think I'm pretty sure you told me not to." But I wanted to spend all my time like solely focusing and to make sure I can make it. And I had some money saved up behind me to pay for my bills and stuff like that. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Worst case comes to it, I can go get a job
Yeah,
in a few months if I need to anyway. And then, yeah, the rest is history, basically.
yeah, yeah. Good. So I mean, again, I think there's a lot of connections between. I mean, I've done a few interviews recently, and you can always see that the people that get the best results in the shortest amount of time are those people that just say, "I'm going to get this done regardless. I'm going all in for the next 6 months, and I'm gonna make it work. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's always when people have got like one foot in and one foot out, and they just want to kind of learn it on the side, and they might pick up a new skill. That's typically when people don't get results. I'm sure you've spoken to a lot of people since you were successful at this. You kind of need to say, yeah, right, I'm making this work, or you're probably better off not doing it.
Exactly. And the thing is, as well, people like, bro, my family and everything all said it was scam, all this rubbish, and bro, it went on for years, and I just went in. Basically, if someone's watching this now and their family's saying it as well, just ignore them. Just ignore them because they're old fashioned. They know the way of working the 9 to 5s. They didn't really have all this back then. Just focus on you, and bro, you can prove for the results basically.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I was the same when I first started. When I used to actually, so when I lived with my parents, my nan used to live next door. So we had houses next door to each other, and I remember when I made my like first, I think it was like £250 I made on a trade, and I went round to show my nan, and she was like, "Oh, that's really good. When are you going to go get a real job?"
Yeah.
And that literally ate me alive forever. I was like, "Nah, what a bitch! I can't deal with this." And then yeah, that was kind of the moment where I could pretty much that moment in particular, like everything switched for me. Like as soon as you make that first win and you see that it's a tangible way of making money, to me, I feel like it's just a case of then just staying consistent at that. And then I think it was like a year later, I bought my first car. I bought an R8, and then everyone was like, oh, this is actually real. Like you can make good money from it. I'm sure your family had very sort of similar situations.
I know my nan still don't believe it. Even though I'm showing her I'm making money, she still thinks it's rubbish. And she, bro, it was like 6 months ago. I was still obviously I've been profitable for nearly just over a year and a half now. But she still sends me jobs on Facebook and stuff like that. It's like okay, I just ignore them. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it is. But
yeah.
yeah, like
No,
obviously my mum and my girlfriend and all that, they all can see it's not rubbish. But like
yeah.
I said to my girlfriend, I said when I move to Dubai, she'll soon realize I'm not working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, no, they always get suspicious. My mum and my dad, when I came back with my watch, my first watch, they were like, "What are you doing? Like, how have you got enough money to go and buy a Rolex?" I was like, "I've told you this ages ago. You know exactly what I'm doing." And yeah, it is definitely a strange one because it's so new to them, right? So many people don't understand it. Like you do see a lot of stuff online about trading being a scam, and there is a lot of scams about it in the trading space. But if you can do things the right way and actually get educated, then it's a very, very good way of making money. I mean, especially in today's day and age with the likes of prop firms, like you could have never made this amount of money 5 years ago, let's say. So yeah, it's a really, really big opportunity for sure. Um, Now, one thing I do remember actually, I mean, after very, very shortly after you sent me that screenshot, you sent me a message saying you had 600K in funding. I remember my Forex funds you were funded with, right? And then very,
Yep.
very shortly after that, I think it was honestly, I think it was days after you sent me that they went bust and they went under. How did that affect you? Obviously losing, I mean, an awful lot of capital. How did that affect you?
Right, I had a $34,000 payout, and they went, and I actually, like hand on heart, I nearly cried. Like I'm not even joking, I nearly cried. I was so pissed, but then because obviously all my capital was with my forex funds, and I never thought, okay, let's go look into someone else. I never went with I should have went with FTMO, but I never went with FTMO because they were expensive. But I guess
Yeah.
that's why they're safer. But I
Hmm.
thought, all right, I'll go with my forex funds because they're like I would say they were second biggest really.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um, so I was like, all right, cheaper, second biggest, surely they'll be all right. And then I was like, I just didn't know what to do. Basically, I spent like 2 weeks just like, okay, are they coming back? Are they coming back? And I think it got to like the third week, and I was like, all right, I need to buy another challenge.
Yeah.
And then I went for TFT. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it's TFT. And now they're having problems as well. So I'm probably gonna lose my funding with them as well. But
Yeah. I mean, really, the prop firm space is definitely having a bit of a shake up at the moment. But I mean, I think it's still very true that going for the guys that are most expensive are probably the easiest option because
yeah,
FTMO haven't had any problems. I don't think they've denied any payouts ever, to be honest with you. So it's like when you're looking at going to get funding, really some of the biggest things that people look at are price. Whereas what you should really be looking at is, okay,
reputation.
exactly that, their reputation, how long they've been in the game for. Do they deny payouts? Are they on social media? I think that's a big thing. So many of these prop firm owners are on social media and they just talking crap to everybody. And I mean, again, I don't really want to do business with those types of people. So I think, yeah, it's definitely a good idea to look at the bigger companies and just try and judge it more so on the reputation as opposed to price in a lot of cases. So after that, then obviously you basically went back to zero capital. Things were obviously probably not the best in your trading world at that point. How did you then recover from that and sort of get yourself back to that level?
So the plus side of things was I think I had like £35,000 in a live account. So what I did is I just upped my percentage I was risking per trade because I know my win rates averages about 60 to 70% per month on how I'm trading now, like 60 to 70% a month, and I can do about 6 to 9% on a good month because I'll talk on that in a minute. I've changed my whole like trading approach basically. Um, but yeah, so basically I just thought, all right, if I just start risking 3% per trade on my live account, I know I ain't gonna lose my funds if
Mhm.
I do that. And I was confident in it. So I just started risking 3% per trade. And obviously 3% on a 30K account is not great money compared to what I was making. But when I'm doing a set risk to reward of 3R, it's not bad. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, I'll just do this whilst I take a challenge. I took a TFT challenge. I took a 400K account and I risked 3% per trade, which some people might say, Jesus, you're crazy. But I had the money. How I see funding is if you have an edge and you blow your account, just buy another one. You're more than likely to pass that one. And I'm not saying that for people that have no idea what they're doing trading. I'm saying it for people that have an edge. Obviously, I'm not telling no random person just to buy challenges.
Yeah.
Um, that's my approach, and I have like the statistics behind it that I know if I
Mhm.
fail two challenges, I'll pass the third one,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So that's why I went with that approach, and I passed phase one in 2 weeks, and I passed phase two in 1 week, and then obviously that's when I just thought, all right, now I've got funding with them. Where else can I go? And then I went to where did I go to? I went with Funded Next, which are a Dubai firm,
Mhm.
and I've got Alpha Capital Group, and I've just bought some other firm called Day Funded or Die Funded, but I don't know if they
Yeah,
pay
I've
out
seen
yet. I'm
those.
just testing them because
The-
they had like an offer if you buy 200K, you get one free or something like that.
Yeah, I saw some people talking about them. They got that old man as a CEO, but nobody really knows if the guy's real.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But that's the
very
thing.
very
Obviously, I'm in the
strange.
position where I don't worry as I'm not saying like a snob, but I don't care about that money. But like I'm happy to invest it because if they do pay out, then that's substantial for me, obviously. So, and if
Yeah,
they
I mean,
don't, then so be it.
yeah, I mean, it comes down to it. I mean, if you look at it, like when you're trading with funded accounts, your risk to reward isn't just I'm risking £1,000 because you're not risking £1,000 on a trade because it's not your money. Your
Mm.
risk to reward is essentially I paid 500 quid to go and get this 100K account. Any upside I make on that is basically off the basis of this £500. And then as soon as you get one payout locked in, your risk to reward is essentially only upside because you're never actually losing any money because the account
Facts.
becomes risk free. So if you have got an edge, which is something that I think we should definitely talk about in just a second, if you have got an edge, then you know that essentially you have infinite risk to reward going through prop firms because you know that if you stick to your long-term average and you stick to your edge, that your net result at the end of a longer period of time is going to be positive. So you can afford, if you know you've got an edge, to up the risk. You can increase your risk because well you know that it will eventually play out in a positive scenario. Um, but on that again, I want to talk about that actually because funny enough, I'm building a new training at the moment talking about statistical edges, and not a lot of people understand about having an edge, and people do just come into the market and they just got so much discretion they don't really know what they're doing. When did you start collecting the data on your trading, and how important do you feel like that data is to you now in your sort of day to day when it comes to trading?
So I would say about a year and a half ago, I actually sat down. Like obviously, I was making money profitably. I was profitable every month. And then I thought, all right. if I want to carry this on longer term, do I know it works for the past 2, 3, 4 years? So I sat down. I think I sat down for like a whole week. I didn't trade, and I just literally back test for, I think it was like 8 hours a day. I just sat there, back tested everything just to get all the data. And that's obviously how I know if I'm not going to fail funded challenge if I risk X, Y, and Z basically.
Yeah.
And then obviously
Yeah.
I don't really back test now just because there's no point. I already have what I need. Obviously, if the markets for some reason just randomly change, then obviously I'd back test. But I
Yeah.
definitely recommend new
No.
people need to back test 100% before they
Yeah.
start
No.
trading any fundeds or putting any money in. Get an FTMO trial and just try trade that.
100%, 100%. And do you know, I mean, we definitely share the same opinion on that because when I was on Riz's podcast, I said that I didn't back test, I didn't like journal every single trade that I place or and stuff like that. And a lot of people were like ridiculing me that it's like, oh, well, how do you know when things aren't going right then? How do you know what mistakes you make? And it's like, well, no, I've already done this. I've collected the data on my rules. I know that I've got a statistical edge on this. I've collected 10 years worth of data, so I know that if I follow this, I should get projected profits in the future based on those rules. So why do I need to go and journal every single trade I make, right? Why do I need to go and backtest anymore? Because I've already collected that data. It doesn't serve me any benefit. If things start to go wrong, and I can see that my consistency goes against my data, then you do some digging. Then you start to look at the data and you start to understand, okay, what has changed here. But for me, once you get that edge, it's just about executing on it. You don't necessarily need to continue testing forever once you've proven that you do have maths and data and statistics behind you.
Well, that's the thing as well. People assume because when they ask you, do you back test? You tell them no, and they're like, well, why don't you back test? That's stupid. But they don't understand we've already done that. Like we don't need to do that now. And that's one thing though I will touch on. I do journal my trades, and that's only just because I like to look back on the trades I've taken. And every day I sit down at the charts, I clear my chart. So because I don't want nothing on my screen, I just want it to be all fresh. But that's why I
Yeah,
journal it. It takes me like 5 minutes, if that.
yeah, yeah. And what sort of what sort of trade frequency do you have at the moment? How many trades do you place on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever that may be?
Oh, my camera's just um hold on. There we go.
There we
It just froze when I leant forward.
go.
What was the question again? Sorry, could you repeat it?
So just talking about your trading now then. So sort of how much do you trade? How little do you trade on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What is your sort of trade volume?
So I used to sit down at the charts Monday to Friday, obviously, when I was trading solely like scalping the market pretty much. But now I started to look into more like supply and demand side of things on the higher time frame because then you can do less and it implements to more. In about 4 or 5 months ago, I sat down and I done a massive back testing session again over the course of 2 weeks, and I got some data on like trading how we trade, but on the higher time frame,
Mhm.
and the results was actually quite good compared to how they are scalping as well. So now basically all I do is I sit down every Sunday, sit down for an hour, I do my analysis. So I don't look at just one or two pairs anymore. I look at 15 pairs, all the majors and minors. And I'll just scan through them all and I look for obviously my criteria I look for. And then I'll just set an alert. And if one trade, say for example, close, I'll set the buy or sell limit as soon as the market opens on Monday. And then I now probably check the charts about 5, 10 minutes a day.
Yeah,
But I've just
yeah.
basically
And
turned it all into swing trading because honestly, I can't be asked, I'll be honest, to sit down at the charts every single day for an hour or two. I think I personally prefer swing trading. I hate holding the trade because it scares me, but it's something I'm getting better at, and I'm seeing just as good results swing trading as I was scalping, and I do less basically. So
yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's also a good thing for people to understand. It's like when you learn certain concepts and you learn how to read the markets, you might learn somebody's edge. Like you come on board with us, you learn the sort of way that I do things. But it's also very important then to build something that that resonates with you and that works around the way that you want to do things. There's no point just sticking to somebody else's edge if you don't feel like it works for you. Of course, you can go and learn the concepts and then go and build your own set of rules, build your own strategy, as long as you go and actually let the data and ensure that it does provide you with an edge, because then it's no different, right? You're still ensuring that you've got the probability on your side, and if you follow that set of rules, that you're actually going to make money at the end of it. So yeah, I think that is super important for a lot of people. That yes, you can sort of plug and play people's strategies, but if you feel like it doesn't resonate with you as much as you would like it to, then you have every option to go and actually collect things for yourself using what you have learned.
One thing I will
So
touch up on as well, um, people assume buying a course they're going to exactly be like you in the next few years, and I just want to say, obviously, they aren't. Like, do they need to get that out of their head? They're going to be them in the next few years. They might have the money you have, but they need to just focus on themselves. And like you said, for example, your strategy, how you trade. The reason I tweaked it is not because it doesn't work, because it does. It genuinely does. I just wanted to trade less, basically. And that's what the course is. It's a foundation. You're giving them the foundation for them to either trade how you do or build how they want to trade,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And it's
I
definitely
mean, it's
worth
even
it
as
100%.
yeah. I mean, it's even the same as me, right? I mean, my trading develops all the time. I change the way that I want to approach the market. I mean, I changed the way I approach the market fairly recently. You make the sort of new discoveries and you refine things over time. You build out new edges and you focus on different things. Like the way that I traded 2 years ago is not the same way that I trade today. Still using the same concepts and still using the same sort of ideas, but it's a way that I want to trade now. Like beforehand, I would sit on the markets and I would trade London session, I'll trade New York session. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to sit at the chart. So I decided to refine everything down. And now I trade basically Frankfurt session. I'll trade that morning. I won't trade, I pretty much won't trade London. I'll just get up in the morning, check my chart, set alerts to areas I want to trade from, and then I'll trade that early morning volume. So it is about gaining that knowledge, I think. Once you've got the knowledge, you understand sort of what certain things mean in the market, you can then start put things together that do work in your favor and that does work around your life. Like, again, some people can't trade in the morning, they can trade in the afternoon. So it is just, yeah, I think it's definitely about just sort of really understanding that side of things and then trying to work into something that does work for you.
And that's the thing
Um,
as well. People think they have to sit on the charts all day to catch a trade when it's just not true. The thing is, you don't have to trade. You're telling yourself you have to trade. Like before, with how we used to trade, I used to spend maybe 1 or 2 weeks out of the charts and I wouldn't see a setup that I liked. But and then that was like affecting me mentally because I thought, oh, but if I don't get a trade, how am I going to make money this month? But I didn't remember I've still got 2 more weeks left of the month.
mhm.
Like the thing people need to understand is you don't need to trade. And if you think you need to trade, then you're just going to end up being a slave to the markets, and you're going to make money and give it all back. That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, I mean, if you look back at data, people will often see that you make probably 80-90% of your money across two trades
Hmm.
in a lot of cases. So I mean, those two trades usually come in consecutive days or on one day. So it's like if you look at the data, you can see that you shouldn't be on the markets every day. Majority of the days are going to be not trading days. So you have to really train yourself, I think, to be able to walk away, come back the next day, and not just sit there, watch paint dry on the charts. And again, you eventually get yourself in the state, oh, I'll just place a trade, and then you end up taking a loss. And then before you know it, your psychology is horribly damaged, and you're in a pretty bad position. But moving on from that, then, I just want to sort of talk about or sort of how you transitioned, or maybe how you realized that this was feasible. So going from somebody that was learning to somebody that is now trading full time, how has your life changed, do you feel, going from obviously where you were when you started to where you are now?
It's crazy. I used to live at my mum's house, and then because uh, I have quite a few siblings. I have 4 sisters and a brother. So it's a lot of people in a 3 bedroom house. So I moved into my grandparents' house, and that was the worst mistake. Honestly, they're lovely people, don't get me wrong, but it was the worst mistake trying to learn to trade because every day they'd be like, "Oh, are you going to work today? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to take the day off and blah blah. But the thing is, I never had a job. I just lied I had a job just to make them just get off my case, basically. And then it got to the point one day because I said I was at work, and I just went to my girlfriend's house to take my laptop so I could do some back testing. And then they drove past her house and was like, well, "Why are you there? Why are you not at work?" So I was like, so basically, long story short, I moved out of there to my girlfriend's house, and then that's pretty much where everything changed because obviously her parents were understanding for it. They didn't have a clue what I was doing, but if I've got money behind me to support myself and my bills and stuff like that, they respect that I want to do that, obviously. And that's when obviously it all changed. So lived at my girlfriend's house, and then, like I said, I used to see you in town, and then that's when I was like, okay, I really want. That's my goal, is to move in the Ocean Village apartments. So then I done that, and then I was like, okay, well, this is now not for me. I want a house because I want a dog. And don't get me wrong, you can have a dog there, but it's just not better to have a garden and stuff. So then I moved into a house, and like I said, my rent finishes in August, so we're gonna move into my girlfriend's house through August till September. Then I'm gonna move to Dubai, basically.
Awesome, awesome. So
And obviously
really, I
that's how
mean,
life's changed, basically. Like I've gone from living in the UK dead broke to moving to a rich country. Obviously, you don't need to move to Dubai as a trader, but it's good for tax purposes, and it's very nice
yeah,
weather every day. Like the
yeah,
motivation in the UK is just not it. Like you wake up every day, the
no,
weather's awful.
yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And obviously, I mean, people can just do the numbers, right? If you're even if you're making 5% a month and you've got over 1 million in capital, then they can obviously see what sort of numbers are possible when you do get this right. Moving forward, then obviously you're in a really good position now. Got some good funding behind you. You've made some really good money. Obviously, making plans to move out here. What are your bigger goals? I mean, what else are you sort of looking to achieve from trading? What's your sort of future plans sort of from this point onwards?
So it's a good question actually, because I've been thinking about it recently. Because I was like I said, that's why I've switched to more of the higher time frame trading, because it gives me more time for other business ventures and whatever. But I'm not too sure. Like I genuinely have no idea. Like I want to start something. Like I've tried drop shipping before and stuff like that, but it's never worked for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for the people that do it, because it does. It just didn't work for me. I just don't want to be sat there that long looking for a product listing and all that stuff. But maybe like watches or property in Dubai or something to start investing in them, because I got a few watches now, but they wasn't really investments. Everyone told me I should have bought them as investments, but I've just worn them all the time and they're scratched up and stuff. But I wasn't very smart with the money I was earning. Let's just say that. But like I said, yeah, I want maybe get into something like you've done, maybe the teaching side. I don't know. I'm not too sure just yet, but
We'll
something
take it as it
definitely.
comes.
Yeah, something. Definitely, I'm looking into stuff, but as of yet, I have no idea. But obviously, with trading on the high time frame, I've got time to do whatever. So obviously, I reckon when I move to Dubai, that's when I'll start like focusing on what's next, pretty much, because obviously there's
Just
so
enjoying
much
yourself.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. So two more questions from me then. Really questions to go back to the people that are watching this. Firstly, as somebody that has been able to become a very successful trader, what three tips would you give somebody that is currently trading that hasn't quite been able to get it yet? What three tips would you give to them to help them really get to that next level and become profitable and start to reach the sort of level that you're at?
Okay. Are we talking about people that are profitable or not profitable yet, but wanting to be profitable?
I guess people that are not profitable. Again, I
Okay.
imagine you kind of go, if you're not profitable, I mean, if you're profitable, then you're probably not far from getting it. So people that aren't profitable.
So, first tip, definitely make sure your psychology is on point. Like, make sure your mindset is clear every day before I trade. I've got a routine. What I do, I'll go for a run, cold shower, all that stuff. Make sure you set yourself routine and have discipline and stick to it, because that's one key point for trading is people don't understand is you need very good discipline. Secondly, patience. And I didn't have that in the start. I never had patience. I wanted to get rich quick, 2 months, blah blah. Definitely make sure your patience is on point. And three, just study. Just basically just study. and study and study. Obviously, they're not crazy points, but bro, when I realized them 3 points, that's when everything changed. Patience, discipline, and just back testing. Just back test, back test, back test. When you've got time, pull out the laptop, back test. If people can't be bothered to do it, then you can't be bothered to be profitable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the
No. Okay.
reason
I
we're
mean, again,
profitable trading is we done what everyone else couldn't be asked to do. And the reason it's
yeah,
not a scam
exactly.
for us is because we actually put the time in to realize it's
Yeah.
not a scam.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people do think it's a scam because they think they can get into this and it's going to be easy, which it certainly isn't going to be.
No.
I mean, obviously, as somebody that's in the education space, I can give you everything you need, but you still have to go and learn it. You still have to put the effort into digest the information. If you don't do that, it's not going to be easy. If you do that and you do work hard, then I mean, it's going to fall into place. But yeah, not a lot of people realize that. And I mean, it's also to sort of expand on your point about studying. I think it's also important to go in the right direction. I think a lot of people can
Oh yeah,
just
100%.
study, and they just digest all of this information. But what's really important is being able to actually boil it down and do the right work. So putting together a set of rules or learning a set of rules, back testing those rules and ensuring and building the confidence you have actually got an edge. Because fundamentally, if you haven't got an edge, you haven't got anything. I mean, you could trade as much as you like, but you're probably never going to see consistent results. So yeah, I think those are three really good points. Um, my last question then, for those people that are watching this, that are on the fence, and they've maybe had a dream of becoming a trader for however many years, they might have tried it a little bit, but given up, thought it's a scam. What would you say to those people that are on the fence? They got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They haven't taken action yet. What would you say to those people?
Just do it. Honestly, just do it. Like you're hearing it from someone who blew all their money savings that I saved up from work and a job. I blew it all and it still worked for me. Obviously, I'm not saying put all your savings in, but invest in the course. The foundation's there. Use it. And if you ain't got time because you work a 12-hour job or whatever, you have time on the weekends. Like everyone has time. When you have time to sit there and watch TV or go on your phone on TikTok or whatever, there's your time to backtest. Like there's your time to study. Just do it. Basically, it's the best way to put it. Just don't think about it. Just do it because, like I said, I contemplated it for a few years, and I mean, if I went with George straight away, I probably wouldn't have blew my savings. But it's all a learning curve essentially, and you learn from your mistakes.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I think again, there's obviously a ton to learn from this. You've gone from somebody that has obviously lost a lot of money to somebody that is now making a lot of money. So again, if people are going to pick anything up from any of these interviews, then this is probably the one to listen to. So I appreciate you coming on. I wish you all the best in the rest of your trading career. Obviously, it's only just getting started, and hopefully we have another conversation in a year or so's time. We can catch up and see where you are then.
Yeah, we'll have to catch up in Dubai or something.
Maybe do
Be
an
quite
in-person
cool.
one. We'll do
Yeah,
one
bro,
when you
that
get
could be
here.
quite cool.